Evaluate an argument. Now, let's talk about defining some terms first. Evaluate means to form an opinion, idea, or assess a written work. An argument is a logical statement that supports a claim or point of view on a particular issue. Now, when we think about an argument, there are four main parts to an argument. The first part of an argument is the issue. That's where that's the problem where we disagree, and by I mean different types of people. Next, we have the argument, or what's more aptly called the claim. That is the author's position or POV on an issue. Next, we have reason. Reason is a statement that supports the claim. Next, we have evidence, facts, statistics, and experiences that validate the reason. So if you notice, everything is always going back to the previous one. Then lastly, we have counter. Counter is the arguments from the other side of the issue. So let's look at an example. So we have the issue, citywide curfew. Well, what's the reason? What's the argument or claim? Well, teens need mandated weekend curfew. That is this writer's claim, okay? Why? What's your reason? To decrease teenage-involved car accident. Okay, give me something to support that. Evidence. 1 in 5 vehicle accidents involve a minor. Now, once you have your issue, now it's time for you to start building your argument or claim. To do that, there are 3 types of claims that you can take. You can have the claim of fact. Claim of fact is where it's claims that can be proven or verified. And your argument is more convincing because the fact that you're giving the reader can be proven or verified. For example, within 10 years, destruction of rainforests will cause hundreds of plant and animal species to become extinct. That's something that we can verify to see if it's actually true. A claim of value states that one idea is better than the other. So a claim of value writer using that type of claim, basically saying, my way is right just because this way is better. No statistics, no facts, just know that it's better. So this is used typically to help sway the reader to the better opinion, but it's not as convincing as a claim of fact. So let's look at an example. Requiring community service in high school will provide more community-aware graduates. If students do not volunteer, they will not learn about it, the real world and the value of helping others. So this is just basically more opinion-based, less fact. And then the last one we have is claim of policy. It suggests what should be done to solve a solution. So you typically see claim of policy in problem solution text. It takes the author's solution as the best one. In order to reduce school violence, more gun and metal detectors should be installed in public schools. Now, after a writer chooses what type of claim they're going to do, they have to decide what means of persuasion they're going to use to do it. So, means of persuasion, we have logos, pathos, and ethos. Logos is where basing on the audience's common sense and logic. Pathos is where you're trying to access the audience's emotions. So you're going to use more emotional pleas, more emotional charged words. Ethos is where you're using the ethics of yourself, your reputation, your credibility, your truthfulness, your authenticity as an author. So, how do we evaluate an argument? Why do we want to evaluate it first? Well, the first reason why is we want to process the info given. We want to decide if the info is factual, leading, or biased. So what does that mean, factual versus leading? We're talking about personal experiences, leading language, author omission, and then all sides presented. So a writer that's using bias is going to use more personal experiences. Leading language like, oh, horrible, extremely. They may even admit facts from the counter side of the argument, and they don't have all sides presented. This is all leading in bias types of strategies as opposed to using factual, which is the best approach. It helps us form our own opinion, and it helps us understand and comprehend better. VIP number 1, use RSR to decode AREC. What does RSR stand for? It's relevant, related to the claim, sufficient, adequate enough to support the claim in reason, and reasonable, rationally enough and lacks bias and opinion. So, argument evaluation step by step. Step 1, you want to ID the claim. You can typically do that through the first paragraph of the first sentence and even the title. Outline the reasons that support that claim. Test the evidence. Use RSR. Is it relevant? Is it reasonable? Is it sufficient? Check the emotions. What means of persuasion, logos, ethos, and pathos is the author using, and are they sufficient? And then 5, check for counters. And remember about author's bias. Preference for one side of an argument. And remember, author's bias is used to sway readers' opinions on an issue.